Who's actually getting the most out of a 65-inch OLED TV? And who might be better off waiting for a cheaper LED? Is the Samsung S85H worth the premium price for the average family that just watches a mix of Netflix and some occasional gaming? Those are the questions that keep most shoppers up at night, especially when the market is flooded with 4K panels that promise HDR and AI upscaling, but rarely deliver on the day-to-day experience. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks watching the S85H sit in a living room setup that mimics a typical household. A sofa a few feet away, ambient light from a nearby window, a soundbar tucked under the TV, and a PlayStation 5 plugged in for weekend gaming. What I'm going to walk through is not a spec sheet readout, but the actual moments that matter when you're deciding whether to pull the trigger on a $2,500 OLED. First off, the picture. Samsung's OLED panel brings true blacks that you simply can't fake with a backlit LCD. In a dark room, a horror movie scene that used to be a muddy gray on my old LED now looks like you're looking straight into a tunnel. The HDR performance is impressive because each pixel can turn off completely, and the Color Booster Pro algorithm pushes the saturation a notch higher without looking oversaturated. The Pantone validation is more than a marketing badge. It means the TV is calibrated to hit industry-standard color targets, which is a real benefit if you care about color fidelity for movies or if you're a budding photographer who wants to preview images on a large screen. In everyday use, that translates to brighter, more vivid sports broadcasts and a noticeable lift in the sky tones during a sunset documentary. Now, the AI side of things. Samsung's NQ4 AI Gen 2 processor is the brain that does the heavy lifting. It analyzes every frame and upscales 1080p or even 720p content to near 4K quality. I tested this with a few older sitcom episodes that were originally shot in standard definition. After the AI upscaling, the picture looked sharper and the colors were less muddy than on my older TV. The algorithm isn't a miracle. It won't turn a low-budget YouTube video into a cinema-grade masterpiece, but it does make the viewing experience feel more cohesive when you have a mixed library of content. Gaming is another arena where the S85H tries to stand out. The Premium Gaming Pack includes a low-input lag mode and support for variable refresh rate, VRR. When I hooked up a PS5 and fired up a fast-paced shooter, the input lag measured around 7 ms, practically unnoticeable for most gamers. The VRR kept frame rate spikes smooth, so you didn't see the occasional stutter that can ruin immersion. If you're a casual gamer who plays a few titles a week, this is a nice safety net. For competitive players who chase the lowest possible latency, there are dedicated gaming monitors that still beat a TV in raw response time, but the S85H offers a solid middle ground for living room gaming. Sound is often overlooked, but Samsung pairs the picture with an AI sound controller that tries to balance dialogue and effects based on what's on screen. In a quiet drama, the controller pushed the vocal frequencies up, making lines easier to follow without cranking the volume. In a blockbuster with booming explosions, it dialed back the bass a touch to avoid rattling the whole room. The built-in Alexa integration also means you can ask the TV to raise the volume, change the channel, or even dim the lights without lifting the remote. For a family that already uses voice assistants, that convenience factor can shave a few seconds off the fin thermote routine. So who should buy this TV? If you're a movie enthusiast who values deep blacks, accurate colors, and a large screen that feels immersive even in a moderately lit living room, the S85H checks those boxes. It also makes sense for households that blend streaming, gaming, and occasional sports thanks to the AI upscaling and low-lag gaming mode. The presence of Alexa and smart home integration is a bonus if you're already entrenched in an ecosystem of voice-controlled devices. Who should skip it? First, anyone on a tight budget. OLED panels still command a premium, and the S85H sits at a price point that rivals high-end 8K LED models. If your primary use is daytime TV in a bright room, you might not appreciate the superior black levels as much, and an LED with higher peak brightness could actually look better under direct sunlight. Second, if you're worried about potential burn-in from static UI elements like a news ticker or a gaming HUD LEDs, do carry that risk, though Samsung's built-in pixel shift technology mitigates it for most typical viewing habits. Finally, Ultra-serious competitive gamers who need the absolute lowest input latency might still prefer a dedicated 144Hz monitor rather than a TV, even one with a gaming pack. Let's talk about the practical downsides that show up after the purchase. The first is the price-to-performance ratio. While the picture quality is stellar, you can find